Before I discuss Hogup Cave, I must first address Danger Cave. In 1949, my dad's boss, Dr. Jennings, initiated excavations in Danger Cave, which is located approximately a mile northeast of Wendover, Utah. I visited Danger and Jukebox Cave several years ago as part of a guided tour. Danger Cave has yielded carbon-14 dates from about 11,000 years ago down to recent times, and is one of the earliest human occupations in the desert west of North America. I knew Jess Jennings as a friend of the family when I was a child. He was retired by then, living with his wife in Siletz, Oregon. In 1964, my dad was the curator of the University of Utah Museum of Anthropology and field director of the Utah Statewide Archaeological Survey. My dad met an amateur archaeologist named A.R. Standing in his role as a liaison with the Utah Statewide Archaeological Society, a group of amateurs. Mr. Standing offered to take my dad to a cave site that was as big and deep as Danger Cave. Mr. Standing escorted my father to a large open-mouthed cave at the southern edge of the Hogup Mountains, which lay just along the western edge of the Great Salt Lake, about 50 miles directly west of Ogden. According to the folklore, the mountains were given that name back in 1869, when America's first transcontinental railroad had been laid across them, because getting a big heavy steam engine, called a hog, over them was a notably difficult climb. My father spent the summers of 1967 and 1968 excavating the cave with a group of a dozen or so students. The cave is approximately 70 miles northeast of Danger Cave. Working there proved to be something of a logistical test because there was no fresh water to be found anywhere nearby. So once a week they had to travel to Park Valley to obtain water. The crew was excited at the prospect of digging another Danger Cave, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Initially, the cave didn't have a name, but since it was in the Hogup Mountains, my dad simply called it Hogup Cave, and the name stuck. Hogup Cave deposits were dry and preservation was phenomenal. The cave yielded a beautifully preserved 140-foot long by 4-foot tall rabbit net made of twisted plant fibers and a complete atlatl. The earliest carbon-14 dates were about 9,000 years ago, and the latest around 480 years. Hogup Cave was not a year-round occupation site, but rather an occasional spring-fall camping shelter and food gathering place for wide-ranging hunting-gathering groups who wintered in other more suitable localities to the north and south. C. Melvin Akins, my father, earned his Ph.D. in archaeology from the University of Chicago in 1966. His 1970 anthropological paper, Hogup Cave, was his first major archaeological project. My dad hasn't seen Hogup Cave for 56 years. Today he returned to where his career started.